The True Strength Index, or TSI, was developed by William Blau and was first introduced in Stocks and Commodities magazine in 1991. It is a momentum oscillator which is based on double smooth price changes. The double smoothing with two exponential moving averages reduces noise and produces an oscillator that tracks prices quite well. And price change represents momentum in its truest form. So let's go ahead and load up TSI on this chart for PSEC here at StockCharts.com. If you scroll down into the chart attributes area at the very bottom, click in the indicators box and scroll all the way to the bottom, and the True Strength Index, or TSI, is right there. Standard settings are 25,13,7. If you would like quicker reactions and a more jagged line, you could try using 13,7,7. Or if you're a long-term trader using daily, weekly, or monthly charts, a setting of 40,20,7 is recommended. Let's go ahead and click Update and take a look at the True Strength Index, or TSI, at the standard settings of 25, 13, and 7. Okay. TSI captures the ebbs and flow of price action with a steadier line that filters out much of the noise of other indicators. Prices are generally rising when TSI is positive or above the zero line, and prices are generally falling when TSI is negative or below the zero line. Okay, other signals that TSI gives are center line crossovers up through the zero line or down through the zero line. Signal line crossovers where the TSI either crosses up or down through the red signal line. And it also shows overbought and oversold readings. Now let's take a look at some of the signals the TSI is given on this chart for PSEC. Okay, this is a good one right here where TSI is below zero because the stock price is falling, and TSI at this point is negative, showing the stock price is declining. But right here, TSI crosses up through the signal line and the stock goes up. Not long thereafter, TSI crosses up through the zero line, confirming the first signal, and the stock goes up some more and closes, it looks like, at the highest close in about a month, just barely beating that close in that area. Okay, then it forms a huge bearish double top chart pattern shaped like an M, and when it breaks neckline support right here on this day, it falls very hard. Okay, it becomes very oversold with a reading below 20. And right here, TSI crosses back up through the signal line. And the stock, and that's right after forming a bullish double bottom chart pattern. And when it breaks above this neckline resistance here, it gaps and runs. But there's two gaps there. They need to be filled. So it quickly pulls back and intraday fills both of these gaps. Okay, so gap filled. Let's move on. Now the chart pattern becomes a bullish cup and handle. The handle is much higher than the base of the cup, and neckline resistance is right here. So when it starts breaking out above it, TSI is breaking above the zero line right here on the breakout with pretty good volume, above resistance here, here, and then finally blue sky breakout territory right here on a number of days of green volume. And TSI is above the signal line. Then right here near the top, actually just before the top, it curves down. So those were two very good buy signals. Now let's look at some of the bearish signals that TSI is given on this chart for PSEC. First of all, right here, TSI is below the signal line and headed down. The price is falling. right here it makes a kind of a lame attempt to go up, even though the high here almost equals the high here. This high right here on TSI is well below. Okay, and then when it finally drops below zero, first of all, it crosses back down through the signal line right here and immediately crosses below zero. And that calls for a very bearish move down because of this bearish chart pattern, which is called a head and shoulders, with the head right here, left shoulder right here, and the right shoulder in this area. And when it breaks below neckline support right in this area, it falls hard. It makes an attempt to come back, but only makes it to the old level of support and makes it resistance. And when it closes below this close on this day right here, it falls hard. Okay, so that was another bearish crossover. First, TSI crossed up through the signal line and then back down through it. And that was right before the day it closed below all support. Okay, then we've got another signal right here. Okay, there is no bearish divergence here. This high is just slightly higher than this high, and this high on TSI is just slightly higher than this high. But right here, TSI is above the signal line. It crosses down through it. The stock goes down a little. It comes back up, attempts to get above zero, but immediately crosses back down through it. And that's just as this huge double top chart pattern breaks neckline support and closes below it on this day, and the stock falls really hard. Okay, TSI is below zero at this point, showing prices are falling. Then right here at the top, TSI is above the signal line and crosses down through it. Okay, it actually didn't really cross down until right here, but in that area it was calling a top, and that was the high. Okay, but TSI is in positive territory above zero, and here is another bullish crossover with TSI crossing back up through the signal line, and the stock is breaking out into blue sky territory above all levels of resistance on pretty good volume. It's still early here. It's only 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, so the market's just been open a little while, and I would like to see bigger volume today than on these preceding 2 days if it is going to indeed close in blue sky territory up here. Now let's look at the signals that TSI has given on this chart for TSL, Trina Solar Limited. Let's start with the bullish ones first. Okay, TSI is below zero here. The stock price is falling. Then right here, wake up call, biggest volume on the chart so far. TSI crosses up through the signal line and the stock goes up. Okay, it pulls back but stays above the signal line. It kisses up off the signal line, and on 7 days of increasing volume, it breaks out above neckline resistance of a beautiful double bottom chart pattern, which is bullish. And the day it breaks above is right here, and that's on the biggest volume. It pulls back to old neckline resistance and makes it support. And TSI stays above the signal line, kissing up off of it twice here. And each time it does, bigger volume comes in, breaks it up above old resistance to new highs, and then again even bigger volume on this kiss off the signal line, the biggest volume, signaling a top basically with this tall upper wick and a reversal candle, with the next day a solid red candle closing very close to the low of the day and below the halfway point of this candle. So that was your early warning that it was over. Okay, immediately TSI crosses down through the signal line and down through zero right about here where it bottoms again, but it is still in bullish territory just above the zero line. And when it crosses up through the signal line and the zero line at the same time, the stock breaks out to new highs and closes this day above the highest close on record on this chart. Okay, then momentum kind of levels off. The stock trades sideways, forms kind of a bearish chart pattern, and falls, but it's still in positive territory. And here is another bullish crossover as the stock breaks out into blue sky territory above all levels of resistance on this chart on pretty good volume for 2 days. Now, it's only about 11:23 a.m. Eastern time, so this candle is looking very good for this time of day. It looks like there's not too much profit taking. There's actually more buying going on than selling according to TSI.